All right, let's kick off another deep dive. Today we're going on a journey into two, well, fascinating metaphysical systems. You ready?
Absolutely. Always up for exploring new perspectives.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got the Seth Material and the Law of One,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got stacks of channeled
Says
sessions.
stacks.
Stacks. One with Seth, channeled by Jane Roberts, and the other featuring Ra communicating through Don Elkins and Carla Ruckert.
Sounds like we've got our work cut out for us.
We do. We're going to extract those core concepts and see how they connect. I think both systems, they offer these really unique perspectives on things like consciousness, reality, even the nature of existence itself. Pretty heady stuff.
Yeah, it's like peering through different lenses at the same cosmic puzzle, each one offering a piece of that bigger picture.
Exactly. So let's just jump right in. One of the first things that really struck me was how both Seth and Ra, how they describe the very fabric of reality. Like, what is reality even made of?
Yeah, the fundamental building blocks.
Yeah. So Seth talks about consciousness units, or CUs, as like these fundamental building blocks of everything, like the raw material of existence, driven by intent, and they're constantly evolving.
That's a great way to think about it. It's almost like these CUs are the seeds of creation, each one holding the potential for everything that is.
Right.
And this resonates with how the Law of One talks about light
Oh, yeah.
as that primordial vibration emanating from the creator. It's like the source of all creation, constantly evolving and differentiating into various densities of existence.
So it's like two sides of the same coin, right? One focusing on those individual units of consciousness,
Yeah.
and the other on that unifying energy that kind of connects them all.
Precisely. And this difference in perspective really shines through when we look at how they describe, like, the structure of reality. How is everything organized?
Okay, yeah.
Seth uses this concept of three interconnected fields. We've got the causal, the subtle, and then the physical.
Okay, three fields: causal, subtle, physical.
Right. So imagine the causal field as the realm of pure consciousness,
Okay.
like a blueprint, where those CUs reside and where intent originates. Then we've got the subtle field, where these CUs, they translate into electromagnetic energy units, or EE units.
EE units.
Yeah, so this is where consciousness starts taking form, like from this pure potential to something more defined.
Okay, so it's like a step-by-step process, like a thought transforming into an idea and then like taking physical form.
Exactly. And finally, these EE units materialize into the physical field, the world we experience with our senses.
The world we know and love, yeah. So Ra's description of reality kind of revolves around densities, levels of vibration and spiritual evolution.
Right.
It's like a staircase, with each step representing a higher level of awareness and complexity.
Each step, a higher level.
Okay. So is there a way to connect these densities to Seth's three fields? Like, do they map onto each other in any way?
Absolutely. Think of it this way. Seth's causal field, that might correlate with Ra's higher densities, realms of pure consciousness and unity. Then you've got the subtle field that could be seen as encompassing those middle densities, where consciousness is interacting with energy and form, and the physical field that aligns with the lower densities, where we experience, a denser, more material reality.
Okay, so it's like both systems are describing the same multi-layered reality, but using different language, different metaphors.
Precisely.
Different ways of kind of getting at the same idea.
Yeah, okay.
And speaking of different layers of reality, let's talk about dreams. Those weird and wonderful nighttime adventures that our minds take us on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you ever have those really vivid ones where you wake up and you're like, what was that?
Definitely. Everyone has them.
Right. But both Seth and Ra, they kind of suggest that there's more to them than just, random firings of neurons. Like, there's something deeper going on.
There's meaning, there's purpose.
Yeah, exactly. So Seth, he describes dreams as experiences in probable realities. He says the choices we make in waking life, they create these ripples in other potential timelines.
Like a branching path.
Yeah. It's like choosing a path at a fork in the road.
Yeah.
Each path leads to a different destination, but we can kind of, through dreams, tap into those alternate paths, those probable realities.
It opens up the possibilities, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It also makes you think twice about some of those dreams.
Right, like what might have been, or what could be.
Exactly. Now, Ra takes a slightly different approach, focusing on the role of dreams as a bridge. between the conscious and the subconscious mind.
Okay.
It's where we process experiences, confront maybe our shadow selves, access deeper levels of our being.
So it's less about alternate realities
Mhm.
and more about exploring the hidden depths of our own minds.
In a way, yeah. But both systems, ultimately, they point to the profound significance of dreams. Like, we should be paying attention to these nightly messages.
From our subconscious or even from, our multidimensional selves.
Right.
Huh.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got these building blocks of reality, these densities, these probable realities we can access through dreams. It's a lot to take in. But both systems suggest that we're not just passive observers in all of this.
Right.
We're active participants in the creation of our reality.
Absolutely. And that leads us to another fascinating theme, this concept of evolution, as presented in both the Seth Material and the Law of One.
So how do these systems view, the whole idea of spiritual evolution?
Well, Seth really focuses on reincarnation and the development of the individual self. Each life is a chance to learn, grow, and expand our understanding of reality. And he describes this realm called Framework 2, which is a plane of pure consciousness where the soul exists between lives, reflecting on past experiences and choosing future
So
probabilities.
it's like a cosmic school, with each lifetime being a semester, where we
Exactly.
learn different lessons.
And choose our next courses.
Okay, I like that analogy. So what about Ra? How does Ra approach this?
Well, Ra takes a broader view, focusing on the evolution of entire planetary populations through cycles of what they call harvest.
Harvest.
Yeah, imagine a farmer harvesting crops at the end of a season.
Okay.
Similarly, as a planet evolves through densities, beings on that planet, they have the opportunity to graduate
Graduate to the next level.
to the next level of awareness
Wow.
based on their spiritual growth. And this process of graduation, that's what Ra refers to as harvest.
So it's less about individual progression and more about the collective evolution of a species.
You got it. But both systems ultimately affirm that we are evolving beings, constantly expanding our consciousness and our understanding of the universe.
Wow, there's so much to unpack here. And we haven't even touched upon, Seth's concept of value fulfillment or Ra's Law of One.
Oh, there's so much more to
I'm
explore.
ready to dive deeper into these ideas. How about you?
Absolutely. Let's continue this fascinating exploration. Welcome back to our deep dive into the Seth Material and the Law of One.
I'm ready for more.
Great. Before we move on, I think it's important to clarify a key concept we touched upon earlier, that whole harvest thing.
Oh yeah, harvest from the Law of One.
Right, Ra's idea of harvest. It might sound a bit complex, but imagine a school year ending
Okay.
with students moving to the next grade, based on their learning, how much they learned. Similarly, as a planet evolves through these densities, beings on that planet can graduate to
Okay.
higher levels of awareness based on their spiritual growth. This process of graduation, that's what Ra refers to as harvest.
That's a really helpful analogy. It makes the whole concept of harvest much easier to grasp.
Hmm.
So we've got these incredible frameworks for understanding reality, but where do we fit into all of this? How can we
Mhm.
apply these concepts to our own lives?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't
It
it?
is.
And this is where Seth's concept of value fulfillment comes into play. He emphasizes the idea that we are, each and every one of us, creators of our own reality.
Yeah.
Our beliefs, our expectations, our deepest values, they all shape the world we experience.
So it's not just about passively observing reality,
Yeah.
but like actively shaping it
Yeah.
with our thoughts, with our beliefs.
Yes.
That's a pretty empowering thought, but also a little daunting, I have to say.
It is empowering, but it also, it comes with a responsibility to examine those beliefs and values. And Seth introduces this concept of natural guilt, not the kind that makes you feel bad, but more like an inner compass. Let's say you're feeling a sense of unease or, that natural guilt after you make a decision. Seth suggests it's a cue to reflect, whether your actions align with your deeper values.
Oh, interesting. So it's not about beating ourselves up for our choices, but rather like using that feeling
Yeah.
as a guide to make, maybe more aligned decisions in the future.
Exactly. And now, if we connect this to Ra's teachings, we see a similar emphasis on conscious choice and ethical action. Ra's Law of One. It centers on this idea of choosing a polarity: service to self or service to others. And this choice influences our actions, and according to Ra, determines the direction of our spiritual growth.
Oh, I'm curious to hear more about these polarities. What exactly do they mean by service to self and service to others?
So Ra describes these polarities as two fundamental paths of spiritual evolution. The service to self path, it's all about accumulating power and control for the individual, often at the expense of others. It's about seeking dominance and separation, putting one's own needs above all else. On the other hand, you have the service to others path, and this one is rooted in love, compassion, and unity, recognizing that interconnectedness of all beings and striving to serve the greater good.
So it's two contrasting approaches to life, one based on separation and the other on unity. Is one path considered better than the other?
Ra emphasizes that both paths are valid and ultimately lead back to the source. It's not about judging one as right or wrong, but recognizing that they involve different lessons, different challenges.
That's a really interesting perspective. It reminds me of something Seth talks about, the
Oh,
idea that we are all um, projections of the one universal consciousness, each exploring different facets of reality.
exactly. And this leads us back to Seth's emphasis on value fulfillment. It's about, aligning our actions with our individual values, but also recognizing that we are part of something much, much larger than ourselves.
So it's about finding that sweet spot
Mm.
between fulfilling our own potential and contributing to the well-being of others.
Precisely. And this brings us to another, well, mind-bending concept that both systems explore, the
And
nature of time.
oh yeah, we touched on this earlier
Mm.
with Seth's idea of probable realities, but I'm ready to go deeper down the rabbit hole of time.
Hold on to your hats. Seth describes time as a multidimensional construct. It's not this linear progression we experience in our everyday lives. He suggests that all moments, past, present, future, they exist simultaneously. It's just that our consciousness is usually focused on this narrow slice of the present moment.
Wait, so you're saying the past and the future are happening right now,
Right.
alongside the present?
Yeah.
My brain is starting to hurt a little.
It is a lot to wrap your head around, but think of it like a vast library where each moment in time is a book on a shelf, and we can choose which book to open, which moment to experience based on our focus, our intention.
That's a helpful analogy, but how does this concept of simultaneous time play into Ra's teachings?
Reyes describes time as a spiral, not a straight line. We are constantly moving through cycles of experience, revisiting similar themes and lessons in different forms. They also emphasize the interconnectedness of all time periods,
Yeah.
stressing that actions taken in the present can influence both the past and the future.
So it's like time is not this fixed, rigid thing, but rather a fluid, interconnected field that we can interact with in conscious ways.
You got it. And this has some pretty profound implications for how we understand ourselves and the world around us.
Okay. Before we go any further, I need a moment to process all of this. It's like trying to fit the entire universe into a teacup, but in a good way, of course.
I understand. It's a lot to take in. We're exploring some pretty deep concepts here, but both the Seth Material and the Law of One, they offer these incredible frameworks for understanding the universe and our place in it.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the Seth Material and the Law of One. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this whole idea that all moments in time, they're happening simultaneously. Like it's like our brains, they're wired to perceive time as this, as a straight line. But maybe that's just a limited perspective.
It's definitely a challenge to our conventional way of thinking, but what's fascinating is how both systems they use this concept of simultaneous time to explain like the interconnectedness of all things. Seth, for example, suggests that our present beliefs can actually influence our past experiences.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying we can like change the past?
Yeah.
That sounds a bit like science fiction.
It might sound that way, but Seth suggests that time is more fluid than we realize. Since all moments exist simultaneously, a shift in our present consciousness can ripple outward, affecting even our past experiences. It's not about literally changing events, but rather shifting our understanding of and our energetic connection to those past experiences. Imagine you suddenly understand that a seemingly insignificant event from your childhood had a profound impact on your current life. That realization can change how you view that past event. It's like reframing a memory based on new insights.
Okay, that makes a bit more sense. It's uh, not about erasing the past, but rather about changing our relationship to it.
Exactly. And this aligns with Ra's teachings on the interconnectedness of all time periods. They
Hmm.
suggest that through focused intention and action, In the present moment, we can influence both the past and the future.
So it's like our thoughts and actions, they're sending ripples out
Yeah.
across the pond of time,
Yeah.
affecting everything that came before and everything that's yet to come.
Precisely. Both systems emphasize that we are constantly influencing the fabric of reality with our thoughts, with our emotions, with our actions. Time is not a rigid one-way street, but rather a fluid, a dynamic field that we are actively shaping.
That's a pretty profound concept to consider. It makes you realize just how powerful our thoughts and intentions, really are.
Absolutely. And this leads to another intriguing idea that both systems explore, the existence of other dimensions and realms of being.
We've already talked about Seth's concept of framework too, that realm of pure consciousness between lives, and Ray's description of densities as different levels of spiritual evolution. But is there even more to explore beyond these frameworks?
Seth hints at a multitude of realms and planes existence, suggesting that consciousness is far more expansive than we can currently grasp. He describes entities and beings that exist outside of, our normal perception, interacting with our reality in subtle ways. It's like there are hidden dimensions all around us, teeming with life and activity that we're mostly oblivious to.
That's a mind-boggling thought. What about Ra? Do they offer any insights into these other dimensions?
Ra also speaks of a multidimensional universe. They describe a vast hierarchy of densities, each with its own unique characteristics. And inhabitants, they also talk about other planetary systems and civilizations, some far more advanced than our own.
It's both humbling and awe-inspiring
Hmm.
to consider the vastness and the complexity of the universe as described by these systems. It really, really stretches our imagination and challenges us to reconsider what we think we know about reality.
It really does.
So we've explored, the building blocks of reality, the
Yeah.
significance of dreams, the nature of consciousness, the power of choice, the interconnectedness of all things, and the vastness of the multidimensional universe. If you had to distill these teachings down to a few key takeaways, what would they be?
I think I think the most essential takeaway is recognizing that we are powerful creators of our reality, our
Yeah.
thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions. They're not just passive experiences, but active forces that shape the world we experience. We have the ability to consciously choose thoughts and actions that align with our desired outcomes, both individually and collectively.
So it's about stepping into our power as conscious creators,
Yeah.
recognizing that we have far more agency than we might realize.
Exactly, but with this empowerment comes a responsibility to use our creative power wisely, to align our actions with our deepest values, and to contribute to the well-being of ourselves, of others, and the planet as a whole.
That's a powerful message, and it aligns with both Seth and Ra's emphasis on ethical behavior and choosing actions that serve a higher purpose.
Another key takeaway is recognizing the interconnectedness of all things. We are not isolated individuals, but rather we're part of a vast interconnected web of consciousness. Our actions, they ripple outward,
Yeah.
affecting others, and we're constantly influencing and being influenced by the energies and vibrations of those around us.
So it's about realizing that we're all in this together. That our choices, they have an impact on the collective,
Yeah.
and that we have a responsibility to contribute to the well-being of the whole.
Exactly. And this understanding can foster a sense of empathy, compassion,
Okay, nice.
and responsibility for the world we're co-creating.
These are truly profound insights,
Yeah.
and I think they offer a powerful antidote to the feelings of isolation and powerlessness that many people experience in today's world.
I agree. Both Seth and Ra, they encourage us to embrace the mystery and wonder of existence, to explore that vast potential of consciousness, and to step into our power as conscious creators of a reality that reflects our highest values and
Yeah.
aspirations.
That's a beautiful way to wrap up this deep dive. I hope our listeners will continue to explore these teachings, to delve into the rich tapestry of wisdom that Seth and Ra they offer, and to discover for themselves the profound truths and transformative possibilities that lie within.
Indeed. The journey of exploring consciousness, it's an ongoing adventure. And both Seth and Ra, they provide invaluable guidance and inspiration along the way.
Thank you for joining us on this fascinating exploration. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and
Yeah.
keep expanding your awareness.